Hi. So this week I chose to study about boundaries, which just a little bit about boundaries. They're um, the things that we say yes to, the things that we say no to, the things we say maybe to, or even the things we say yes and, like, yes, I will spend the evening with you, but I don't want to go to the movies, or yes, I will go out to eat, but I'm a vegetarian. So things like that are also boundary keeping. Yeah, and how we maintaining those boundaries and how we say yes and how we say no. So first I want to talk about my art response. So I actually started working on this before this class, but I realized as I was making it this week that I think it really is somewhat about my boundaries. Actually, I think it's a lot about my boundaries. Because I feel like sometimes boundaries are just like this really crazy jungle gym of things to negotiate. Just this difficult place to traverse. So yeah, I made this piece about it. And I feel like it reflects how dynamic boundaries are and how complex they can be. So it's made out of glue and bookboard. But see, it lets some stuff in and some stuff it keeps out. So I think, yeah, I want to keep working on it. I'm probably going to paint it and color it. I also wanted to talk about giraffes. So giraffes eat this super crazy thorny plant. And the way they eat this plant is they have just really thick tongues. So their tongues are just thick enough that they just don't get poked by these super long, sharp thorns, which is so crazy to me. And I really like learning from nature. So I just thought it was neat how they were still able to find to let the positive things in, to get the leaves that have the nutrition into their body, while also keeping the thorns out by having just really thick tongues and skins and even inside their mouth. And thick skin in some ways has this negative connotation to me because I've always been told, like, oh, you're too sensitive and thick in your skin, and I hate those phrases. But I think by having self-love and creating boundaries that I can have not let things penetrate me that I don't want, that I cannot be so easily poked by criticism or things that are hurtful. So the last thing I want to talk about was identity. I read this really neat article from positivepsychology.com. I'll find a place to post that. And they talk about how boundaries create our identity. So basically it talks about how when you're a little baby, you don't know the difference between you and your mom. You're not like, that is another human and I'm another human. You're a baby. You're just one big ball of needs. So then later on, at the age of no, like the terrible twos, babies suddenly start to realize, like, I have free will and I can say no, and they do so to everything. And that starts to help them create a sense of identity of who they are, what they want, making personal decisions. And as we do that, we create an identity. So boundaries leads to knowing who you are, and which can lead to empathy, because empathy is being able to look at how, according to Brene Brown, is seeing life through someone else's perspective, someone else's lens. But we can't know what someone else's lens is if we don't have a personal sense of identity. So you can't switch perspective when you don't even know what your own perspective is. I know for me, I tend to take on other people's responsibilities and emotions a lot, and I get a little enmeshed with other people's point of view, which I'm learning can stop me from having empathy, because I'm no longer looking at your perspective. I'm just adopting your feelings into my own life, which stops me from seeing life from your point of view, or for someone else's, which is not what I want. So I really want to continue developing my own identity through boundaries and letting that permit me to have empathy and see life from other people's points of view. I hope that helps others as well. But for me, I'm learning that the principle of boundaries can create something I really want, like empathy and compassion for other people and for myself. Viv loves you. Have a good day.